Far out, man. That's amazing. Hey, everyone. Welcome to That Pelter Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello.
I think that's all you need. Thanks for watching.
See you next week.
So Mick's been to NAMM and bought some goodies home.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, what's the word, hysterical after a day of travelling and all of that. Just got back yesterday. We did VCQ last night. Been to NAMM 2023 for those of you watching in the future. If there is a future. And Dan and I were like, yeah, let's just plug some stuff in. I've been walking around the hall of NAMM for 3 days. And
people chucking pedals at you.
Well, there's a bit of that.
Mick!
But more than that, I've heard so many guitar show floor guitar tones, shall we say, and it's been doing my head in. So I was desperate to get back here, plug into some amps, turn up and crank it.
And it sounds absolutely glorious.
Yeah, before that, a little tiny piece of housekeeping.
Yes, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'd really appreciate it. Also, thanks to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch. We've got some new shirts in.
We do.
Check it out.
We're loosely calling this Tone Busters. If anyone does know the origin of this design, let us know.
Okay.
But we appropriated it in this classic style.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we have some vacuum tubes on a fairly electrifying looking bolt. Lightning bolt. You seen that?
I have.
In 2 colours, all of it. So That Pedal Show store, please go there. Patreon.com, please go there. Podcasts every week and some other stuff. We'll do all that at the end. And That Pedal Shop, don't forget thatpedalshop.com.
Don't forget That Pedal Shop.
So walking around the NAMM show floor, Daniel, as you do, people sort of put things into your hand.
I wasn't there this year. I stayed home. I had some family business to attend to. But so Mick was... he was the lone wolf. He was solo man.
I did sort of feel like I didn't have my left arm, should I say. It was kind of weird. First question, where's Dan? So I was making up all kinds of stories about where he was. Anyway, that's for another day.
The giraffe one was really funny.
And a few people gave me things to come home with. First up is the Silvertone Twin 12 by Jackson Audio, which is interesting. The Room 40 by Tsakalis Audioworks. Mm-hmm. The Cornerstone Colosseum by Cornerstone. And the Bossy Gnome by LST Gnome, more of which in due course. Yeah. So, as I said, walking around the NAMM show floor, a very nice chap about 2,000 feet tall called Chris Pittman came up to me and said, had I seen this?
Right.
Took me over to the Silvertone stand. Silvertone is a brand that's been around since a long time ago. I always think of the 50s. Was available through the Sears catalogue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff of legend. You can read more about that online. Introduced me to a nice guy called Rick Taylor.
Brilliant.
Who's the product manager and had worked with Brad at Jackson to develop it.
Oh, okay.
But basically, the Twin 12 amp from Silvertone came out I had to write it down, early 60s.
Right.
And it's been made famous, or it's been used by people, according to Silvertone, including Jack White, Dan Auerbach, Dave Grohl, and some others.
Yeah, yeah.
So
we have one in the studio with Simon from Biffy.
Oh, nice.
And the producer had like an old Silvertone, plugged it in. It's like, wow.
I'd always assumed it was like a little amp, but it's actually a 60-watt 6L6 thing that had reverb and trem. Called the Twin 12 in Silvertone form, but was model designation 1484, I think, in the
catalogue.
In the Sears catalogue, something like that.
Brilliant.
Anyway. Super simple, like Dan said, nothing press and hold, no mucking about, just what you can see on the top panel. Give it a go, Sonny Jim.
Amplifiers today, we have the Deluxe Reverb reissue, as well as the Marshall, I'm going to say JTM 45. There we go.
Get on. This will be probably the last time you'll see the JTM 45 because we're about to swap it for a Bluesbreaker combo with a very nice TPS viewer. So it'll be out of here. Anyway, that's the story for another day. I shall set everything on 2 o'clock, Daniel, because that's where all things sound best, and we'll work from there. Very nice.
Wow.
I know you can't necessarily see, or I'm assuming you can't necessarily see where the knobs are pointing in pedal cam, so apologies for that. What you heard there was lower gain, higher volume, and then bringing up the gain to maximum gain at the end.
Oh, that is a tasty, tasty. Mwah.
It sits in a really nice place between a kind of, so let's say that, you know, your standard overdrive pedal, op amp and clipping diodes, I don't know what's doing it in there, but can sound kind of smooth and a little bit compressy. That doesn't do that. It sounds more sort of transistory.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how they've done the circuit, but it sounds more like that. So somewhere in between a really nice boost and a good sort of edgy overdrive pedal. And it's got plenty of headroom, which sounds really cool. I just want to, let's see if this, I think this guitar's tuned down a bit. Let's see what we can get out of this. Not exactly a Silvertone, but a 50s inspired thing nonetheless. This is a Supro. Yeah, let's see. Might invoke some room reverb in a sec. Killer.
It's the pint test. I walk past a pub and I hear that sound. I'm going and buying a pint and sitting down and waiting for the rest of it. That sounds fantastic.
It really does sound nice.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice range of EQ available. So this guitar's obviously a lot darker than the other two that we were playing. Yeah.
Lovely.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's just nice that this simple design can still bring the love, you know.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard, that's a different sounding thing. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
That's the trouble with overdrives, isn't it? There's 58 million tube screamers out there and you just want something that's a little different. So, you know, if you're thinking about something like a Hudson Broadcast or the Super Bolt by JHS, those kinds of sounds that are a little more, I don't know, shall we say edgy? Definitely put it in that list.
Right.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Really cool. Okay, room 40. I'll swap guitars again. This is Tsakalis Audioworks, our friends from Greece. And I was chatting with George and with Chris there at NAMM, and they were telling me all about this. Very, very much Marshall inspired. So it's been out a little while, but I hadn't seen it before.
Right.
In brief, with the switch up in the 19 position, you've got plexi type Marshalls.
Okay.
And with the switch down in the 22 position, you've got more sort of, you know, late 70s master volumes into 2203 JCM 800
Okay.
style.
Right.
So that particular evolution of the Marshall circuit. What's quite nice about this is, in addition to the two volumes, so if you're familiar with a plexi style Marshall, and indeed many after that, there's two volumes for the two channels.
Right.
So you've got those. Those are the bottom two knobs.
Okay.
The top two knobs are a master volume on the left as you look at it from pedal cam there, and on the right it's labelled Variac.
Oh, that's cool.
What do we know about Variacs, Dan?
Well, Variac will change the voltage that the amplifier uses, and if you reduce the voltage, it's an old trick. A lot of people will associate Eddie Van Halen with this. He used the Variac a lot, but yeah, reduce the voltage and the input voltage, and the valves will work harder and distort, and yeah, it's a very cool thing.
Over here we've got 7.5 volts internally,
Right.
and over here 21 volts.
Okay. So yeah, so we're decreasing the headroom, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can run the master a bit higher. You get all that squashy power amp stuff that we know from that. And in addition, 3-band EQ and presence, plus a boost. Now on the back, there's also a little mini screw that you can access through the back panel, which you can adjust the level of boost if you want it.
Right.
And those boosts are based on 2 famous mods to Marshalls.
Wow.
I forget the numbers. Hopefully it's written down here on my bit of paper. Anyway, mod 39 and mod 34, which I had to Google it, but apparently these are the mods that were done by SIR. Is it Studio Instrument Rentals or Studio Instrument? I think very famous kind of places all over the US, but particularly in LA.
Right.
They did the mods on the Slash amps, basically.
Okay.
So again, you could Google it to get the full story, but those are the mods done to those amps, and then we get into stuff like the AFD 100 by Marshall and all of that, and indeed the original amps that Mr. Slash used on those records. More gain, basically.
Right.
And that's what this does.
Okay. Nice.
In the different modes.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. There's people that really know about this. Pete Thorne's made really brilliant videos on it, so go and read up on that if you're interested. Without further ado, then. Have a play then, Dan. We'll start lower volume, bit more headroom, and then we'll see where we get to.
Okay. Meaty, throaty goodness.
So even though we're only sort of 10, 11 o'clock on the gains here in full headroom mode,
Yeah.
we're still getting, I mean, that you'd have to push a JCM 45 pretty hard to get there.
Yeah.
And then we'll just hear the boost, and then I'll bring in the Variac, turn up the master, and just see how gainy we can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I am loving that.
It's great, isn't it?
It's really great.
That combination of, so we're just all on the Plexi side at the moment, and the combination of the Variac, the gain controls, the master, barely touched the EQ and the boost. I think the boost must be set pretty low actually, because when I demoed it at the show,
Gives a little bit more compression.
yeah. Maybe we'll turn it up in a sec. You know, thinking AC/DC through Clapton Blues Breakers all the way up to quite a lot of overdrive actually.
Yeah.
Pretty killer. So if we then move on to, in fact, just bear with us a sec while I adjust that gain up a little bit on the boost.
That's the puppy.
So obviously I've put it up to basically maximum, just tweaked it back from max. Have a little listen to this down, see what that's done for the gain. So that shows you can go from quite a subtle boost to quite a lot.
Very
Happy days.
nice.
Right,
Very
let's
nice.
flick down onto the 22 side then. This would be more in your late 70s master volume into JCM 800 territory.
Okay.
So if you play, I'll flick it down while you're doing that. So here what you should have heard immediately was that big jump in the very vocal mid-range.
Yes.
And then volume 2 now becomes a body control.
Okay.
So kind of resonance, I
Yeah,
guess, in the thing. And with humbuckers... Hear that really, really vocal upper mid.
Yeah.
And of course, we'd be remiss if this kind of thing didn't happen.
You know what I really like about that?
If it would be really good to hear like a proper rock guitarist play it, because go on, you were saying.
With a lot of higher gain overdrives, one thing about a cranked Marshall is it's a great sound, but it's not a nice sound. Do you know what I mean? They haven't tried to trim the edges off it and to make it nice. They've said, okay, this is what, if you crank a Marshall, what you're going to get is this stuff around the edges. And it's like they've left it all in there.
The aggressive upper mids.
Absolutely.
The aggressive high end, which is really what you need with powerful pickups and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's really good. And nice that it does that full gamut. Clearly there's many Marshall in a box type pedals out there, and lots of them are really, really good. I like the feature set on this one.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand. The variac control is really effective.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, well done.
Nice one, fellas. It deserves to do well.
Yes.
I'm assuming, you can tell us in the comments, I'm assuming room 40, because it's like hashtag 40 means that's the 40th mod, maybe. Because that's how the mods are usually written. Like
okay.
Hashtag 34, hashtag 39.
Right.
So I don't know. You could tell us. Groovy.
Groovehenge. Okay.
Yeah.
Colosseum by Cornerstone.
Yeah. I think this is interesting from what I can gather. So Cornerstone, if you don't know, came to wide scale prominence with the Gladio.
Yes. Wonderful sounding thing it is.
Yeah, they've been doing stuff before that, or Emilio, the guy's name is. It's from Italy, and they've been doing stuff before that, but the Gladio really pushed them onto the map. And since then, there have been a bunch of things, dual pedals. There's been a vibe type thing, and a bunch of stuff. Colosseum was something I think he said he wouldn't do, but then the community of users and the internet in general decided, or his customers decided, they wanted a blues breaker and a clon in one pedal, to which lots of people were like, oh, really? You know, we've got enough of those. And a lot of other people were like, yeah, cool, why not?
Yeah.
Sounds groovy. Everyone else does it. Why shouldn't you do it? So that's what it is. As you look at pedal cam there, on the right-hand side as you look down, is the blues breaker side. And what's interesting here is, I think Emilio himself probably thought, oh my God, really? So what he's done away with the clipping diodes in the blues breaker side. And a common criticism of blues breakers is
volume.
Yeah, not loud enough.
Yeah.
So doing away with those clipping diodes makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
If you've ever used a pedal which has got selectable clipping diodes and you can switch them out, it makes...
And I always do. I never use them.
Never use them, yeah. Which is hilarious because most overdrive pedals have them in. Actually, when we come onto the LST in a minute, that's got switchable clipping diodes. Anyway, and he changed the op amp.
Okay.
To sound good when it was, or to sound to his ears good when it overdrives. So actually, it is pretty different from a standard blues breaker.
Okay.
It's also got a clean blend pot, which you don't get on a blues breaker, so you can blend in some of your clean sound if you want.
Right.
So it is very different from a blues breaker.
Right.
The left-hand side, as you look down for pedal cam, there is a clon type. And the change that Emilio has made here is it has a variable knob where you can change the clipping diodes from the classic secret magic, as they're called, germanium clipping diodes in the clon, over to some silicon ones on the right hand side there, and it's very continuously variable. Enough of which you can have it switched either way, so you can have the blues breaker into the clon or the clon into blues breaker, and in addition it's a 4-jack design, so it means you can use the pedals completely separately if you want.
Which is really handy, because if what you want to do, which a lot of people do, is use the clon as a boost, you can come out of the blues breaker side, you go into the blues breaker, then come out, go into any other pedals you want, then back in, and then have the clon after whatever you put in the center.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
And thusly, as you'll see on the QMX switcher here, Dan's wired it up so that each one is in a different loop. Now, if you do have a bigger loop switcher, or you wanted to put them like you want, exactly as he just said, you could have the clon as number 1 or the Blues Breaker as number 1 and the Clon as number 6 and put other stuff in between.
Yeah.
So it does make sense for people who use loop switches as well.
But if you are going to use that, you got to make sure that the center switch on the Colosseum is in the up position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Same thing as to do with the DNM drive.
Yeah. Oh, you mean it's like the DNM drive? Interesting. Cool. Let's have a listen to it then. As you'll see, both LEDs are lit on the Cornerstone. You're looking at these two switches here to see when it's on, and the on-screen masking will help. With big thanks to Hayden.
That's nice.
Loads of volume. That's minimum gain. And
Oh, wow.
volume at about 11 o'clock.
There you go. There
So
you go. You couldn't
I'll-
get that out of a normal Blues Breaker.
I'll mix in some clean. Let's see what that does.
I really like it. It's a different take on a Blues Breaker. People have discussed the importance of op amps. They're very important, especially in this scenario when it's the op amp that's clipping.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because there's no clipping diodes in there, so
The overdrive's coming
the
from the
overdrive
IC
is coming
itself.
from exactly
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's
If you don't know what that is, let's take a tube screamer, for example, it's the bit that's called the JRC 4558D or the LM308. Is that what it's called in the RAT?
yeah. It's the operational amplifier. It's a differential amplifier that
Looks like an 8-bit spider
yeah.
because it's got legs and a square body. Okay,
Yeah.
let's hear that with some humbuggies then. Oh, I missed Gear Man, dude.
Missing two.
Get my whack collar cable. Sort of in common with the Twin 12 in a way. It's that slightly hairier overdrive sound that isn't all smooth and compressed. And,
There you go. Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
what your clipping diodes brings.
Yeah.
That's really nice, man.
Yeah, I really like that.
Very
Really like
nice
that.
indeed. All right, so the old Clon side then.
Yep. The cloncher?
Cloncher.
No.
Sorry, Dan and I are referencing an old video we made, one of the
Our
first
very first ever video.
videos we made together, yeah. Where I played a game show host and Dan played Dan.
Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel.
Correct! Now, what Daniel does not know about pedals is literally not worth knowing. Daniel, what do you not know about pedals?
Don't know.
Correct! See, I told you so. Now let's get on with the show.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, that's hitting me right in the ear hole.
Yeah.
It's got that perfect upper mid little... The Klorn's famous for its 1K mid boost. In addition to that, there's some high-end stuff that happens and some bottom end roll-off.
Yeah.
And I think I'm hearing pretty much all of that. Let's try it with the Strat a minute. So here that's pretty dull and quiet compared to some of the more powerful spiky guitars, Telly particularly. Les Paul's obviously got a bit more grunt. The Strat is weaker and is lacking those mid ranges.
Right.
So let's kick on the K and see what happens.
That's really cool.
Exactly what we'd expect from the dear old Klon. So if we give it a bit of reverb, this will be a room reverb, I think. A bit more mix. With apologies for my Strat being horrifically out of tune. But that's it. That's how he does it.
Right.
So he gets the lovely quacky in between sounds, but then adds the mid boost back with the...
Is it 2 or 4?
It's 2 or 4.
2 or 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Killer.
Totally does that thing.
Really.
For those of you who
really
don't
lovely.
know, Klon and Bluesbreaker, a big part of a certain American superstar's sound. And John Mayer, obviously. And let's have a listen to that diode difference then, clipping diode difference. That is hitting me right in the ear hole.
Yeah, me too.
In a big way.
Yeah.
That the mid hump there is something else. Yeah. So the The clipping diodes on the right-hand side, the silicon ones, seem to have a bit more bottom end.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. I would have thought it the other way, but it feels a bit more compressed.
It's pretty subtle.
Yeah, it's pretty subtle.
I've had to stop playing because the mid hump is really
Hurty.
really hurty.
Yeah. Oh, we're pretty loud.
Yeah. No, it's not a criticism. It's exactly what you want in a mix.
Yeah, sure.
And it's certainly what you want to make single coils pop a little bit. So before we move on, then let's get some higher gain going and just try them in the two directions. Because you can put Klon into Blues Breaker or Blues Breaker into Klon. Okay, we've just had a bit of a fiddle about and we can't seem to make the switch work. So apologies for that, but we'll get some gain going and see.
Yeah.
And see where we are. We're not sure if it's Klon into Blues Breaker or Blues Breaker into Klon at this point.
And there might be an internal dip switch. I need to have a look, but
that we haven't managed to find. So apologies for that. But anyway, let's go for some higher gain shenanigans. So if we're just on the Blues Breaker side.
It does that thing. It does that honky thing.
That way around, it's almost into Copwire territory.
Yeah, right.
There is so much mid-hump.
There it really is.
Which is a cool sound if that's what you want. I think into a cranked amp, particularly a Marshall, you're getting towards some of that stuff we were talking about before with the Room 40.
Yeah.
Very, very pronounced upper mid-range. But yeah, for me, that way around too much, I would definitely prefer it the other way.
Sure.
So Klon first, Blues Breaker second.
Okay. Just
to even out some of that very vocal mid-range.
Sure.
Cool.
Nice.
Right.
This one.
LST Gnome then.
So I've never heard of this.
Nope. I was at our good friend Joel Corty of Chase Bliss Audio.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful human he is.
And I think the nice people at Empress.
Beautiful humans they are.
Steve organised, although I didn't see Steve, organised a little sort of splinter faction.
Splinter.
Like the people's
With Judy in
front of Pedal Deer.
Very good.
There was the Pedal Deer and People's Front at NAMM and the People's Front of Pedal Deer up the road in Anaheim, and had a lovely little thing in the outside of this bar. And there's a really nice bunch of people there. Met some really great people. And up walks, to me, I had to write it down, Daniel, because the memory is not as it was.
You're kidding, your memory's amazing.
Mark Rochot. And I'm sorry, Mark, if I've said your name incorrectly. Mark is the dude behind LST Gnome Effects.
Okay.
And he hand makes there in California.
Beautiful.
And this is the Bossy Gnome. It is, as he describes it, a fuzz, a preamp, or a treble booster. And you achieve that in that it's a two transistor design.
Okay.
So in the way that we would think of a traditional fuzz. A blend of silicon and germanium.
Nice.
Switch on the right-hand side is the tone switch, which determines the input capacitor.
Okay.
To tighten up or boost bass, as we'll hear. And obviously that's what's going to give you your access to treble boosty type sounds, because you can cut the bass. The clip switch sends it into much higher clipping for fuzzy goodness, or higher headroom without clip, as we discussed earlier. In the thing, and even better, when you got the clip switch on, the dude's pipe lights up. I love this. So, as you would expect from a kind of, it's almost, you almost can't say boutique builder anymore.
Right.
But this is boutique in the true sense of the word.
Sure.
Somebody making pedals using really finely selected components. As he says, orange drop and silver mica caps, Dale resistors, switchcraft jacks. It's a silicon transistor in Q1. NOS germanium in 2.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gorva pots. Blah,
So it's
blah,
really
blah,
good
blah,
stuff.
blah. Really nice stuff. And on top of that, 15% of each sale goes to Food Not Bombs to help provide free healthy meals for people in downtown LA.
Oh wow!
So there's a bit
great.
there's a bit of goodwill there as well.
Yeah.
For which, Mark, everyone thanks you
Well done, buddy.
for your what a lovely thing. Anyway, let's see if the gnome can rock, Dan.
Indeed. Oh man, I'm loving that. I am loving it.
So straight off the bat there, we've got our boosty tones,
Yeah.
and you heard we went from the middle setting, which is obviously the bass cut input cap, to a more full rangy one. So what we have now is just a really nice boost. Go for it, Dan. What we should have done is had it at the front of the chain, because for those of you who've never played a treble booster, you might think that middle position on the input cap there sounds a bit thin and weedy. It is exactly what you need if you're going into a really overdriven amp. So I'll continue to explore that. We'll see how much gain there is in the sort of non-clipped mode.
Okay.
If you're detecting a bit of background noise there, all fuzzers do that. Well, all traditional fuzzers do that when you have the volume down to 0. Watch what happens when you turn the volume up.
There you go.
Someone will explain it in the comments. Dan can probably explain it, but it does happen. Happens in all my fuzz faces. What I'm thinking I'm going to hear now, if we do this, I'm assuming it's going to have pretty decent cleanup, actually. And again, if you are detecting a bit of noise there, you can hear how much it's boosting. Killer. Did you switch the clip on?
I did. It was brilliant.
Have a play with me.
I love that. That is fantastic.
Yeah. We should have put it up the
I
front,
know, yeah.
front of the board to try it with some other overdrives after it, because that treble boosty thing sounds very, very promising indeed.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really cool. That is super, super cool.
Nice
well
one.
done.
Nice
well
one,
done.
Mark. Thanks
Yeah,
for
mate.
that, man.
Brilliant.
Groovy. So just some interesting stuff.
Yeah, really interesting.
Different takes on everything
Yeah,
to make it interesting enough, because there's millions of overdrive pedals out there, as you well know, and choosing one is becoming borderline impossible these days.
yeah.
So yeah, just some interesting takes. I think we could find room for all of those. The Silvertone especially, I just like for its pure simplicity.
Wonderful.
And then the Room 40, just tweakable. All the things that I would want to do in that world.
It's tweakable, but it doesn't. It's still at its essence. It does such a great job of that crank Marshall thing.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
I did get you a present as well, Dan.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not from me, but it's from the nice people at G7th. There you go.
Oh,
Almost feels like product placement, but hey, I've used G7th capos forever. They do coloured ones.
oh, how lovely.
And I said, can I have one to match Dan's guitar?
Ah,
But
hang on.
it's the wrong guitar, so
It is the wrong
that's
guitar.
not going to work, is it?
that's all right. I'll make it work.
There you go.
Look at me making it work.
There you go. So yeah, thanks for being with us today. It's almost like a pedal jams this show today, but we wanted to just plug in and make some noise. Nice show from everyone.
So, tell me your impressions of NAMM.
Smaller, more
Right.
intimate. Really great to see everybody.
Okay.
Really, really great to see everybody.
Yeah, right.
So let's see what happens next year. It's back to January next year, and there'll be some of the big boys may or may not come back. There you go, and it works.
Fantastic. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merchandise. It's the main way we fund the show.
Look at this. Look at this T-shirt, that hat, and that T-shirt. All that stuff you can get there.
Indeed. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much. Monthly giveaways, as well as podcasts from our viewers, comments and questions chat every Monday.
Indeed. Thank you to our preferred retailers. That would be Anderton's in the UK and Pedal Empire in Australia, full details of which you can find if you click it down.
And our American friends, we have thatpedalshop.com.
Oh, yes. Das Pedalshop, if you're from Norway. Thatpedalshop.com in the US and Canada if you want to buy stuff.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.